What we're going to do now is have a look at what is in a BSI first aid kit. So you've got an idea of looking at the contents of this, and you can compare it with the HSE kits and also the other films we'll look at, whereas trauma kits. So this one here is what they classify as a BSI small first aid kit. So you would do your risk assessment based on what kits you need. When you're looking at the difference between a small, a medium and a large, there's no new products in it. It's just more of the items. So it'll have exactly the same contents as this kit, but it'll have more of them because the larger kit, you're more likely to use them. The other thing you can do when you're doing your risk assessment is maybe you could look at, instead of having one first aid kit at reception and have a large kit, it may well be you have 3 kits, but separate those around different locations, so it's much easier to get to. So the kit is easy and simple to get to where it's needed. If it's a large event and multiple casualties, well, then you can bring the other kits in as well. So they're the sorts of different things you can do. The first thing on the top is just a first aid guide card. Different kits will have different versions. This is a generic one. In our personalised kits, we have another one with a bit more colour pictures on it. But this will just give you some basic information of what to do in an emergency. But the important thing also is it's got the contents on there. So on here, it'll tell you exactly how many of each of the dressings you've got. So it's a good idea to do regular checks on your first aid kits to make sure that nothing's been taken out. Now, it should be anything used in the first aid kit is being marked down in the accident book, and then you can top up your kits accordingly. But that's not always what happens. Someone comes and uses something out of the kit, and then you need to top it up. So it's a good cross-reference. So have some kind of spreadsheet or diaries or reminders to actually go out and check. So sorts of items in the kits. This has a burn gel dressing. Now, an important thing is that we flush any burn with cold water for around about 20 minutes or more. However, if that's not available, that's a quick way round of cooling a burn. We've then got micropore tape. This is good for holding pads on, securing bandages, or if you need to strap a splint on somebody, very good to have. We have dressings, and we have different types of dressings. We have special ones for eye pads, so we've got an eye injury, which is a round one. We then have different bandage, medium dressings and large dressings. So if people want to run different bandages, you can. So it's a medium and a large. And there's also just the bandage. So in these kits, they've got conforming bandage. So the dressings have got the gauze pad on them, and it's sewn into the bandage, whereas this is just a bandage to add on extra pressure or to hold a separate pad on. You've also got a CPR face shield. This is for giving a barrier if you're doing rescue breaths. So it's a very good thing to have in your kits. You also have some shears. These are for cutting away clothing, cutting bandages, pieces of plaster, anything generally that you need to just cut with, and they will cut through most things. Important, you'll also have lots of pairs of gloves. Now the big thing with the BSI kits, they do have a lot of gloves in them, whereas the HSE kits don't. So these are always a large size glove, because large fits on most people's hands, whereas if you've got a small glove in a kit, it might be good if you've got small hands, but if you've got larger hands, they're just completely useless. So you can use a big glove on a small hand, but you can't use a small glove on a larger hand. So gloves are in there, usually always individually wrapped. Then we've got some plasters. So these will be wash-proof plasters. So they're ones that are reasonably good with moisture. So you've got different packs of those inside the kit. Maybe your risk assessment says you also need fabric plasters or any other specialist plasters, but that's something else you can look at when you do your risk assessments. Then we have triangular bandages. So these are just really for protecting maybe a fracture on an arm, but they're also good for tying a splint in place or an elevated sling for in case of a bleed. You have individual finger dressings, which are for finger injuries. They're just a pad, which is quite good. And then you can secure it in place with the conforming bandage, or you can secure it in place with the micropore tape. Then you have a section of wipes. These wipes are really for cleaning up wounds, cleaning up hands, getting rid of the excess blood. Because one real traumatic thing with a bleed is the blood. So if you can clean as much of that as possible, that will help the patient. And then finally, we've got a foil blanket. This is a foil blanket that reflects the body heat back. It's very, people going into shock or, they're cold or they've lost a lot of blood, you need to maintain their body temperature. So wrapping them up in this will just help reflect the body heat back onto their body. So this is the general contents of the BSI kit. The catering contents of the BSI kit is exactly the same. However, the dressings will be slightly different, because usually in a catering kit, for example, the plasters and that will have a metal strip in them. The reason for that is that as the food is going through on processing, there's metal detectors. So if a plaster fell off a finger, for example, the metal detector would pick it up. Therefore, you'd know to remove that to avoid contamination in the food line. And with the catering versions, they're either in these green boxes or they're in a blue box. So generally speaking on these, you need to assess what you think is right for your business and use the appropriate guidance. Generally speaking, the more kits in an easily accessible points, the better. But a kit is only as good as the maintenance and the checks you're doing in it. So you do need to make sure that all those kits are fit for purpose when you need them the most.